Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's interview question is example of DoR and DoD checklist. We already discussed about definition of ready and definition of done in very detailed episodes. We have many number of episodes where we have covered this topic. Today it is going to be an interesting question. How this checklist look like? We discussed about certain points during our explanation episodes, but here we are going to talk about all the high level items that are going to be available in this checklist, how this checklist is going to look like. Again, I want to mention one very important thing. This checklist is not going to work for everyone. Why? Because the nature of project is different, team's maturity level is different, and the level our product work items or the execution work items that we are going to take care is different. I'll talk about this in a bit, but I'm going to discuss about all the general work items or the general checklist items that are going to help us in all the work items. Okay. And in addition, if you want to create a checklist based out of this list, you may need to do a quick brainstorming to come up with few more topics. Anyway, this is going to be not created by a Scrum Master. This is going to be created by the team. Just facilitation will be taken care by the Scrum Master. So when team is getting blocked somewhere, as a Scrum Master, you can very well use these pointers to help and support the team to bring out the different aspects. Now let's get into the topic, definition of ready checklist. So definition of ready, as we all know, this checklist is going to help us to understand whether the work items are really ready for sprint execution or not. So our expectation here is very simple. Like for example, if I want to run for a marathon, okay, what are the things I need to have so that I can really ready for the marathon? Or another example, if I am attending an interview or an exam, what are the things I will be carrying with me, or what are the things that I need to ensure from my side that they are available so that I can say I am really ready for the exam or I am really ready for the interview. Similar thing, we need to think in this aspect. When we say that a particular work item is ready, what are the things that should be available so that we can claim it as ready? Now let's get into different checklist items. First thing is, if it is a user story, whether it is matching the 3C guidelines or not, whether acceptance criteria is available or not, all the different use cases that need to be covered are mentioned in the acceptance criteria or not, non-functional requirements are updated or not, localization requirements are updated or not, security requirements are updated or not, documentation requirements are updated or not, whether testing is actually required or not, in a bug, whether the replication steps are available or not, which environment and what are the specifications that are used in the environment is available or not, screenshots or the videos or the relevant log files related to the defect is attached or not. If it is a user story, whether wireframes, UI, UX designs are available or not. These are certain things which should be available in this checklist item. These are the checklist items. So I have mentioned certain things specific to defect, certain things specific to user story. The reason being, we are going to create this checklist common for all the work items. This we have discussed earlier also. We won't be creating a checklist, definition of ready checklist separately for defects, separately for user story, separately for spike. No, it is not the case. So here it is very important. We need to gather all the things, whatever the work items that we are going to work. If it is a technical depth, what we need to know, whether the problem statement is mentioned correctly or not in the description. If it is a spike that is performed for a decision, whether the opportunities or the options or the different factors are captured there or not. So these all are things we need to mention it. So in a nutshell, it is very, very important that we are covering all the aspects. So the first thing, give priority to the structure. The work item should follow the proper structure, especially if it is a user story, it should follow 3C. And the next important part is the acceptance criteria. So in acceptance criteria, depends on the work item, you need to think what all the checklist items we can add. For example, if it is a user story, different use cases need to be captured, different scenarios need to be captured, whether for this user story testing is required or not should be captured, what is the non-functional requirement should be captured, and what is the security aspect that need to be captured, whether documentation update is required or not, that should be captured. So all these things should come under the acceptance criteria. So after adding the acceptance criteria pointers, please mention testing required, yes or no, or not applicable. And security requirements, non-functional requirements, documentation requirements, always give yes or no. If it is yes, ask the product owner to elaborate it. But this checklist is going to help us not to forget these items. Otherwise, we will always be focusing on the functional aspect where we may miss out the non-functional part. Specific to defects, I wanted to add certain things. Like if a defect is coming, we should know in which environment it's happening and what is the specification that is used in the environment. For example, if it is a web application, and what is the browser, what is the version of the browser, what is the operating system that has been used, those things are available or not, replication steps are available or not, the relevant log files, screenshots, videos that are going to help the team to investigate more on the defect, they are available or not. These all are the checklist items. So what will happen if these things are missing? You will be reaching out to the author of the defect and asking them to provide these details so that we can investigate. And when we talk about attachment, it is also very important. We need to have the UI UX designs, wireframes that are going to help team to understand what is all about this particular user story, how this functionality is going to look like. So those things are very important. So this is all about definition of ready checklist. So I think I have covered most of the common points. Again, I am highlighting, it depends on the team, it depends on the product, it depends on the nature of work items. With all these things, we should be really showing some effort to identify the maximum number of checklist items so that we will not be missing anything. So that it will be easy for team also to understand, okay, these all are the items. Yes, it is available, not available. Sometimes what happens, we miss some non-functional aspect of the requirement. And later part, what will happen, we will separately create a story which talks about non-functional aspect. That is not a right scenario, because when we say we are delivering a value, we are completing a requirement, that means it should cover both functional as well non-functional. So this kind of checklist is really going to help team to cover all these parts, both in functional and non-functional. Now let's talk about definition of done. So definition of done checklist is also going to be a very interesting checklist, which is going to help the team to understand what are the things that they need to cover when they claim that they are done with the work item. This is also going to help the product owner to ensure whether this work item has met all the definition of done checklist items or not. If something is missing, product owner can very well not accept the work item. But why this is important? Anyway, we all know that what we will be doing as part of as ensuring to done, right? The catch is here. Let me take an example, like I'm developing certain thing. My team member is also developing certain thing. I am a person, just I'll write the code, and when I merge the code, I'm done. I call that as done. But actually that is not done. But whereas my team member, he or she is very focused, and they are actually covering all the aspects. They are not coding, they are developing. Okay, there is a difference always between coding and developing. Just I'm writing the code and my job is done. Actually it's not done. I need to follow all the development practices and quality aspects so that I can claim that is done. That's the reason, just to bring that kind of awareness to all the team members and come to a kind of conclusion and align to certain points, we prepare this checklist as a team, so that every team member knows, okay, when I am going to say it is done, that means I'm going to cover all these things. Without covering all these things, I cannot call a work item as done. And it is also going to help the team to estimate, considering all these work items, all these checklist items, to consider, okay, to ensure that it is done, we need to consider all these checklist items. So now, how DoD checklist look like? First thing, code should be merged in the main branch. It should not be in the local branch or some feature branch. It should be in the main branch. No review comments are open. The pull request is completed. Unit test cases are written. Code coverage is achieved to certain percentage, that is as per the guideline. No security vulnerabilities have been identified in the security scan. Relevant documentations have been updated. Relevant test cases are available in the attachment or in the certain test repository. Test reports are available. Nice to have identified functionalities or defects from this particular user story or work item has been captured. If it is a defect, the defect has been deployed in specific environment. It can be a environment which is a user review environment, or it can be a QA sanitized environment, some environment, whatever may be the guideline we follow. These are certain things that we look in this checklist. So when we say code coverage, for example, code coverage is certain thing where we are looking for, always we will maintain a guideline. For example, we will maintain it as 80%. So when I write a code, it should not degrade. It should maintain that standard, that benchmark. Are we aligned with that or not? Whether I have created a review request, whether the review commands have been incorporated, and whether the pull request is completed, and whatever the minimum number of approvers that are required for the pull request is maintained. Any documentation updates, have they been taken care? Whether I have written unit test cases, have those been reviewed? Whether test cases are written by the tester, where are those test cases captured, and where is the test report? And whether the code is merged to the main branch or not. Whether security scan passed and there are no vulnerabilities identified. And whether this working product is deployed in a specific environment or not. These are certain things we want to ensure. So this is going to cover whether we are mapping and matching the quality standards, coding standards, development standards, all these things or not. And another important thing is, and we all know, definition of ready and definition of done is a dynamic checklist. It's not like it's static. Once we identify these work items, we cannot remove or add. It's not like that. Once the team maturity is going on, certain things can be removed because it becomes a part and parcel of the development. So it's known. Rather than removing, addition will be keep happening. We need to, as part of a retrospective meeting, we need to learn what are the things that we have missed. It would have been a part of this checklist, means we would have avoided that situation. How will we can take care of that? Those kind of things will be the good learning. And it is also very important, we need to do that practice, and that exercise is going to help us in ensuring that, okay, our definition of ready and definition of done checklist are really helping us, and it's avoiding lot of confusions during the sprint execution. So this is one question I really want to discuss as part of the interview episode. It's a very common and general things that we have discussed as part of the checklist, but I request take this as reference and try to understand from your team what are the things that need to be discussed more. What are the things that are actually we need to improve as part of our checklist so that it is going to really benefit us. Learn from every retrospective meeting how well we can improve these two checklists. Always keep a question on the retrospective meeting for team to share and discuss certain points on DoR and DoD checklist. That gives an opportunity for team to come up with certain points. I'm very sure this episode would have helped many of you in understanding the example of DoR and DoD checklist. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.